Alright there guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel. Now we're going to be reading matter. Everything around us is made of matter, from the tiniest grain of sand to the sun in the sky. Rock, metal, wood, and plastic that are all made of matter. So is this book? So are you. But matter is not just solid stuff. Liquids and gases are all as well. So the water we drink and the air we breathe in and out are matter as well. Scientists call solids, liquids, and gases the three states of matter. What's more, all matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms. Sometimes atoms join together to form bigger particles called molecules. Atoms and molecules are much too small to see with the naked eye. So in this case, we need to be using microscope to look down further. Now, what are mass, volume, and density? We work out how much matter there is in an object by measuring its mass. Mass is measured in kilograms or grams. All matter has mass. All matter also occupies space. It has volume. Volume can be measured either in cubic meters or in cubic centimeters. The volume of liquids is usually measured in liters. Some small objects, such as a stone on a beach, have a lot of mass for their volume, which means their size. Some large objects, such as a hot air balloon, have very little mass for their size. How much mass an object has. Now let's take another look at the particles in this substance. These particles in any substance move around in all directions. In a solid, they vibrate about a fixed point. In a liquid, the particles move around more freely. In a gas, they move around even more than in liquid. So there are basically three states of matter, which are those solid, liquid, and gas. Based on my research, the main difference between solid, liquid, and gas is that the solid is a state of matter which tightly packed the particles in a specific shape, while liquid has loosely packed particles with any specific shape, whereas gas has freely moving particles and covers the shape of a container in which it is enclosed. As the picture provided above, the Trifid Nebula seen through the Hubble Space Telescope. Using telescopes, we can see much of the matters in the universe, planets and stars, asteroids, galaxies, and nebulae. Astronomers have calculated that in outer space there's almost thousands and thousands of millions of mysterious dark matters we can see in space. Here's the fun fact. For its size, it's called a density. The stone has a high density, while the balloon has a low density. Now, let's pay attention to the states of matter. Well, to be honest, all matter can exist in three different states. Those are solids, liquid, or gas. In nearly all substances, the solid state is the most dense state, while the liquid state is less dense and the gaseous state is the least dense. Whether a substance is a solid, liquid, or gas. Depends mainly on the temperature. For example, most metals are normally solids, but if you or heat them to a very high temperature, they turn into a solid. If you heat them even more, they turn into the gas. Substances that are gas at ordinary temperatures, such as the oxygen, become liquid at very low temperatures. Oxygen becomes a liquid at 183 degrees Celsius below the freezing point of water, which is 0 Celsius. Water itself is the only substance commonly found in all three states. So at a picture provided below, which says a gas turned into a liquid and finally turned into the solid. Gas condensing, which means you cool it down to liquid, and then if you're trying to freeze it to let it cool down again, it becomes a solid. If you want to let the solid becomes the liquid and into gas, we need to use the opposite steps, which from a solid to add up a heat, which to let it melt, and into liquid, which turns into the water. And if we add a heat again, let it boil, then it becomes gas, which forms water vapor. What's more, nearly all substances expand when they melt, and expansion is water, which actually expands when it freezes as an ice. However, like all other substances, water expands when it becomes a gas. Now let's take a look at the changing states. Substances mainly change states because of changes in temperature. Changing from a solid to a liquid is called melting. Most substances expand when they melt. Changing from a liquid to a gas is called boiling. All substances expand when they turn into gases. Changing from a gas into the liquid is called condensing. Changing from a liquid to a solid is called freezing. Water that's basically at 0 Celsius and boils at 100 Celsius. When you heat a substance, you are given its energy, so let it be energetic. When you cool it, you are taking away energy. Particles of a matter, such as the atoms and the molecules, are always moving. They need to get energetic. They need to get more energy to do this. How fast and freely they move depends on how much energy they intake. In a gas, the particles are free to fly around test, like the ping pong balls in a lottery machine. They bump it up into each other and it will fill every corner of a container. If you cool a gas, its particles slow down. Eventually, they become so slow that they can't bounce off each other so quickly. When they hit each other, they can almost stick together, and the gas becomes a liquid. If you cool a liquid to below its freezing point, which is basically 0 Celsius, its particle becomes even less energetic. The liquid becomes a solid. In a solid, the particles are close together and only move a little about fixed points. Now let's add on to the pressure and changing state parts. Pressure as well as the temperature can affect whether a substance changes its state. For example, the gas of propane can be turned into a liquid by compressing, which means to squeeze it if there is less pressure than normal. A liquid will turn into gas more easily. For example, if you're trying to heat it up water high on a Himalayan mountain where there is a less air pressure than usual, the water will boil at a lower temperature. This means that it is impossible to do it to make it a good cup of tea in a high mountains area, because you can get the water hot enough. One of those examples showed below. Gases present in the air around us is water vapor. As the air temperature falls in the early morning, some of the water vapor condenses, which means to turn it the liquid as tiny drops of liquid water, which means this dew. One more interesting fact to provide: the matter in us and in our sun and planets and somewhere else in the universe, it came from a huge cloud called stardust, the remains of a giant star that blew up millions of years ago in a huge explosion called a supernova. That's all for today's show. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe. Like I said in the previous, if you're new, please do it right now. And I will see you in my next couple videos. Bye. You may take this as a reference for your future studies or whatever. You can do it. Remember, there's no copyrights if you're trying to take the reference from my video. Little words, that's okay. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you guys there. Bye. Have a nice day.